There were challenges I also faced on a daily basis, which was finding time to spend with my daughter. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Both the attempts were a failure, and as I failed consequently, I was very upset, I was very demotivated, and I almost gave up the goal of pursuing JRF exam. It is not easy to keep going in the face of failures. Qualifying NET exam is a must if I want to work as an assistant professor in a college or a university. But with hard work, patience and perseverance, one can surely find success. Hello everyone, I am Catherine and I cracked NTA UGC NET JRF in the year 2020. In this video, you will hear my story, my journeys, my mistakes and what made me an unstoppable till I achieved the goals. So let us begin. My name is Catherine. I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. I'm married and I have a daughter. I cracked NTA UGC NET JRF in the year 2020 with 99.83 percentile. I had a break in my teaching career soon after the birth of my daughter, and as much as I wanted to get back to my teaching profession, I also wanted to pursue research. And I previously decided that if I want to do research, it has to be only with qualifying JRF exam. That was my desire, that was my goal. So I decided to write the exam in the years 2018 and 2019, but both the attempts were a failure. And as I failed consequently, I was very upset, I was very demotivated, and I almost gave up the goal of pursuing JRF exam. And I thought of getting back to my teaching career. But the pandemic happened and it was a lockdown period, and unfortunately we were stuck in our native place. And during one of these days, I was randomly watching YouTube videos, and by chance I came across this app called Unacademy. I heard about it and I was very curious about the name. The name Unacademy was very unique and I wanted to know more about this app. So I downloaded it and I was surprised to find that there were classes, coaching classes dedicated for UGC NET JRF preparation. So that is how I discovered Unacademy, and I used Unacademy for both my papers, paper 1 as well as for paper 2, which is my subject English literature. As I had cleared my NET exam previously, my goal was to qualify for JRF exam. So when I started my preparation in the year 2020, I had to review my strategy and my preparation, because when I attempted the previous times in the years 2018 and 19, it was a failure. And I came to realize that strategy was very, very important. If there is no proper strategy, then trying, even attempting to write an exam at this scale is very difficult. So, and the second mistake I realized was lack of practice in previous year question papers. The more previous year question papers you solve, the better you are in your journey of, the better you are in your preparation, because previous year question papers will help you know the difficulty of questions, the pattern of questions, and it will also make you comfortable when you are taking the exam. And the third mistake I realized was I was paying very less attention to paper 1. Paper 1 score will be very, very helpful when you attempt an exam like JRF, when you try for this JRF exam. So these were the mistakes I realized when I started preparation in the year 2020. So once I realized that strategy was very important in a competitive exam like this, I came up with a long-term goal and a short-term goal. Since my goal here was to qualify for JRF exam, I need to have the maximum score. As much as I can score, I have to do that. So which means I have to pay more attention to paper 1 and more attention to paper 2 also. I cannot simply ignore paper 1 and then focus only on paper 2. So what I did was, I personally drew a chart of both the paper, all the 10 units. So paper 1 has 10 units and paper 2 has 10 units. So totally of all the 20 units, I drew a very comprehensive syllabus, which mean including all the sub-units, the subtopics, even the concepts that were detailed in both the units. And once I did that, this was my long-term goal. I wanted to cover as much as I can of all the 20 units. And how I did that was to set small term goals. So every day I made sure that I would take out a small piece of paper and I will write what I need to do on that particular day. It would be like attending a live class or taking notes from an offline class or making my own notes, taking an MCQ session or revising or solving few PYQs. So I will list out what I need to do in that particular day, and at the end of the day, whatever I have finished in that daily schedule, I will strike it out and I will crumble the piece of paper and throw it in the dustbin. That will give me a little sense of achievement. So by strategically completing everyday task, I was able to cover 20 units of both the papers in paper 1 and paper 2. So this was my strategy. Now I would ask the aspirants to be well ahead prepared as to how they are going to approach the exam, either by first paper 1 and then paper 2, or paper 2 first and then paper 1. Because as you all know that all exams come with their own set of surprises. So it is better for us to be prepared well ahead. So I chose to go with paper 1 first and then paper 2. And also in paper 1, I decided to go by the order of the questions, not by the choice that I'm comfortable with, like not to attempt questions of my strong areas and then the weak areas, because going back and forth, I would lose my confidence and it would also be a waste of time. And for me, the first question, it was one of my weak areas of data interpretation, but I still went ahead because when first I tackled with the weak questions, and then I will be much more stronger when I attend the other questions. So first paper 1 and then paper 2. And in paper 2 also, make sure that you do not spend too much time in, if anything is, you need to think more about it, quickly move on to the next question, because most of the paper 2 will also come with passage analysis and you need a lot of time to read the passage and answer the question subsequently. So apart from the challenges with preparation, with my studies and academically, there were challenges I also faced on a daily basis, which was finding time to spend with my daughter. When I began preparation with the Unacademy for JRF exam, she was hardly 3 years old and she was at the preschool stage. And as you all know, that it was pandemic, so there was no way that we could enroll her in a preschool. So I did a basic research on internet and figured out what are the things that a preschooler needs, what activities that she needs to do. So I made a list out of it, and next to my detailed strategy of detailed syllabus of what I need to prepare for with my academic, that is with my JRF preparation, I also had another chart of what I need to cover with my daughter. What are the activities that I needed to do, what I should help her learn, what are the pictures that she needed to identify, a list of activities. So on a daily basis, I will, like I said before, on a small piece of paper that I will write on a daily schedule. On the back side of the paper, I will also write what are the activities I'm going to do with my daughter that particular day. It would be a physical play, either hide and seek or sitting with her and reading a storybook, or we will do some pasting, handcraft. So all these things I will plan ahead and I will do it. But there were days when I also fell short of all these activities. I wouldn't have time to do. I'll be frustrated with preparation. My ups and downs in this preparation will get me down and I will be upset. Sometimes she will, even though I give her some activities to do, she would not want to do it because all she wants is her mother to be with her. So she wanted time to spend with me. But then I will be attending a very important live class that I cannot just, let go. So I will tell her to go away for now, and she will be upset, she will be hurt, and that will make me hurt. So along with this preparation, with the challenges that I faced in preparation, there were also guilt-ridden days where I had to sacrifice time with my daughter, and but in the end, it all proved helpful. I was very surprised to find that there were so many educators, giving their expertise, sharing their knowledge on the Unacademy platform. and it was very, I had to find out, I had to follow few educators, and then for me, for paper 1 particularly, Niharika Bhaktani and Shiva Odnala were very, very helpful. They were my mentors when it came to paper 1. I diligently followed their classes, be it a special class or if it is a plus class, and all their strategy, all their exam tips. I completely followed that, and I relied on them for notes and for all the sources, and they helped me. And I would suggest to anyone that following their courses will make sure it is more than sufficient for NET JRF preparation. And paper 2, it is, my subject is English literature, and on Unacademy I found 2-3 educators for that, and they were Annie Mahindru, AKS Rajvi, and Akshay Kumar Sharma. So they were very helpful. The way they designed the courses, it was very excellent. Particularly Annie Mahindru, all her courses were, the batch course, the complete course will be based, MCQ based. So it will be very helpful, which means the day before, she will give us a list of authors or writers or a particular period that we have to prepare. So we will prepare the day ahead, and the next day it will be the whole 1.5 hour session will be MCQ based, so that we can it was very helpful to assess our knowledge, and when we have doubts we will clarify then and there, and also seeing where we stand, where is our score, are we at the 50%, 60%, how much we are getting. So this is how we did it on a daily basis, so it was very helpful. So these were the educators I followed on Unacademy, and I would suggest them to other aspirants also. So the theory part, how I tackled that was, like I said previously, I divided each unit subtopics and subunits, and concept-wise I divided them. So I approached it methodically. I made sure that I maintained separate note for theory and separate note for practicals. And for theory, I made it as visual as possible. My notes, I will create tables, charts, flow charts, diagram. I will use colorful pens to make sure that to break the monotony of note making. So I used all these strategy, all these tips to make the theory preparation useful for me. And I would also suggest that when you're making notes, to make it as visual as possible, so that at a glance when you're revising, it should be useful for you to gain the information quickly. Now, when it came to the practical part, that was my weak area, particularly with reference to maths. So there were 2 units for including maths, that was mathematical reasoning and data interpretation. They were my weak areas. But thankfully, there was Niharika Bhaktani's courses and her classes, special classes as well as plus, which were very, very beneficial for me. Her tips and strategies was what I followed, and I diligently prepared, because still before then I would just forego all the mathematical questions. I never used to attempt them, but now I tried to attempt all those questions. And also when it came to the practical part, there was reading comprehension and data interpretation. So what I did was, on a daily basis or on alternate days, one reading comprehension passage I will solve, and the next day it will be data interpretation. Then the next day it will be reading comprehension and data interpretation. And then I will also monitor the scores, whether it is improving or is it becoming less, and how I should improve. And if I had doubts, I would also ask the educators at Unacademy, and they will be clarifying those doubts for me. And this was proved very helpful for me, because while I was solving this reading comprehension passage and data interpretation on a daily or an alternate basis, I never got a full score while I was practicing. But my end result, when I got the answer key, in reading comprehension, I got 5 on 5. So it really proved helpful for me in the end. And this was for paper 1. And for paper 2, as you know, the depth and vastness of syllabus for any paper 2 subject it's just unbelievable, because it's at a postgraduate level, so there will be many information to process. And with my subject, that is English literature, I again methodically approached all the units. I maintained separate notebooks. Like for instance, there is a unit called literary criticism and theory, so I maintained a separate notebook for that, and in that I will make sure that I covered all the concepts, all the units, all the years, whatever is important for that, I will cover it. And also I made sure that in our paper 2, there is a pattern of question whereby they will ask, there will be a quotation, and the quotation will be who said to whom, or that quotation, that particular said passage is from which work, either a poem or a novel or an essay. So I maintained a separate notebook. I will, with the help of PYQs and MCQs, I made a list of all the possible quotations and all the difficult quotations and who said to whom. So I maintained another different notebook for that. So in this way, by methodically dividing my units, or by methodically dividing the units and approaching them and covering them in everyday basis by being consistent, I was able to tackle all the 10 units in paper 1 and all the 10 units in paper 2. And also, while taking classes from Unacademy, when I was taking the plus classes, if it is an MCQ session or is it a PYQ session, I maintained a separate note for that. For paper 1, MCQ and PYQs, a separate notebook. For paper 2, MCQs and PYQs, a separate notebook. So that in the end, when it comes for revision, it was very helpful for me. So in that MCQs note, I will not merely attempt the session, just click on the right answer B, C and D, no. But I will also write it down in a sentence or a two, and also I will make sure that if it is PYQs, I will learn from the other options. I will not stop with just the right answer. Let's just say for question number 5, the answer is option A. I will not stop with that. I will go on to learn what is option B, what is option C and what is option D. And if it is anything important there, I will quickly make a note, and later for revision it will be very helpful. So this was how the units that were very challenging for me, the difficulties, particularly the theory part in both paper 1 and paper 2 and practical, this was how I was able to manage it.
She always had that passion for JRF. She tried, but was not enough. Then during the pandemic, it was lockdown and it was difficult time for everyone. At that time, she tried once again.